In this video, I'd like to discuss billboard contracts. Billboard contracts are used when you are leasing or renting out billboard space to clients, and you need to track those and bill them typically on a regular monthly, quarterly type basis. To begin with, on your quick products list, the billboard contracts are not listed. Your implementer can help you add those if you'd like. At this point, they are under View All Products and then Billboards. The first thing we come to will be the contract itself. And what this is referring to is when you're writing a new contract to a client. It is best to have a company name filled out first, since it's going to look up to see if they have any billboards with you currently, and when those expire, etc. It's just good information to have. So we'll open up the billboard contract. Okay. The first thing it wants to know is the type of contract. This may vary based off of your shop. Sometimes people will base these off of regions, such as one state or one county to another. They may also do it based off of different rental agreements, such as 28-day, quarterly, annual, things of that nature. The location is where the physical pole is located at. So one pole or one may have multiple signs on that pole to be leased. This is the location of the pole itself. And then the billboard is which sign in that location are you leasing out. Now, with both of these selected, if I look at the current contract information, it will let you know this company and what contracts they currently have are saved with this when they expire. And then this is on the billboard itself. So the top and the bottom are both leased out by the test company, and this is based off the company information, because the company may have multiple leases going on. This is just reference information. If I look at the contract, it wants to know the term. Now this is defaulting based off of the contract type. Is the term, location, the term rate, how many terms, whether it's a 6-month, 8, 12-month, etc. The starting date of that term. Now this starting date will depend on a number of factors. It is going to default to the last day this top west face is under contract. It assumes at that point, and so it's going to contract to that day or that month unless overwritten. It can also, if that is passed already, as in this case, that expired last month, so therefore it is going to default to tomorrow, meaning this contract will start tomorrow. The first invoice date is the first date you will be billing them for this contract. That does not include the money that you're receiving today. If you're receiving money today as you're writing this contract or when the contract goes through, this would be the first invoice date beyond that, often 28 days past the starting date is what it's going to assume based off your term. The end date is based off of 12 28-day periods from the start date. The contract value is just your terms times your term rate. Prepaid cycles is how many cycles are you getting paid up front. Most companies will at least expect the first month up front. And so when I do that, you'll notice a few things change. One, the invoice date, if I haven't changed it already, is going to pop up. I've already overwritten it, that's why it didn't do it automatically. And the cycle days remaining. So if they're going to pay 3 cycles in advance, it's going to update this first invoice date to that number. Any other charges that you might want to add, this would be your one-time fixed charges. Maybe you have a $100 or $200 contracting fee or something to set it up. You can add that as well. All right? And it's going to determine, based off of those numbers, what your prepaid amount will be, and that's what it's assuming the bill at this point is going to be for. Now the current contracts, again, we talked about which ones are being placed. The sign information, This is just information that is currently being saved with this location. So based off of this location, this is really just FYI for your information in case you need to know any of this. Now, if we look at the setting up of the location, so this billboard location, here it wants to know the name of the location, the description to the client. This is often just an address of where this sign is. It may be an address and something else because it already knows based off the sign. Then we have the different locations within that location. So we have a top west face, top east face, bottom east face, and you can name these whatever you'd like. Then what your default term is. Right now we're saying this is based off a 28-day term. And in that 20-day, we're going to charge $350, $300 accordingly based off of those locations. The height and the width of each sign, this will come into play when we go into print these, so it just defaults down, as well as you may want to set up some other things based off of it as well. The leaseor, meaning who you are renting this land from. The leaser's address, their phone number, and the day that your lease expires. This is the lease you have to the landlord of the property. And then your cost of that, which is typically per month or per quarter, depending on what it's going to be. We'll hit OK there. Now, once this is done, now we can also add in the billboard itself. This is just a print to print that billboard out. And it will bill the client for that billboard based off of the setting up, and this works the exact same way as the digital print product. What you're going to charge for that billboard. Then we'll hit OK. Now, when this is saved, you'll notice we have our bill. This is just an invoice for the $1,250 that we said was getting billed up front. It is looking at the cycles remaining and the contract value. Now, what prints based off of this, I recommend you get with your implementer because this could print a contract. And we do have a sample contract, but in most cases, everyone wants to tweak their contract for their own purpose, meaning with your state, local regulations, etc. So we recommend getting with your implementer and working out how you want that contract to look. Once that contract is sent and this order is saved and sent on, it's automatically saving this information with the company record and the product record. Let's look at that for a second so that we can see what we're referring to. If we look at a company record, you'll notice under user defined fields, they have a billboard lease tab. This is what's getting saved when I save that order as a new contract. This is what's being saved to the company record. It's saving the location as far as the address of the pole, which sign on the pole, the day that contract expires, the next day that invoice is due, or will be created and sent. It's a monthly, 28-day, quarterly term, what that term amount is, and the terms remaining. This is all saved in the company record. If we look at the specific part for that location, because it is just a part for the location, each location is then saved with its own information as far as the info that is being saved, as far as the construction, etc. Let me look at this one a little better. Okay. It's also saving the client and when it expires. There's not nearly as much information on the billboard, just who is it and when does that lease expire. On the company, though, is the details. The reason that is we can set a macro that automatically runs in the background to create the ongoing bill contracts. I recommend you get with your implementer, based off the rules you may have for that, to write those macros. When we get into sending out a bill or an ongoing bill, recurring order, that is going to be sent by the product of ongoing billboard. And so this is a follow-up to that's going to be created and billed monthly. In this case, you're choosing the contract number. Now, again, I have no company. Let me pull up company. So it doesn't really know what we're doing yet. It is important that we get the company that's placing the order in, since that's where all the information is found. Now that I have an ongoing, it knows my first contract for test company is this location on the bottom right. It also knows the location, the bottom with face. It knows the contract details. It has pulled all of this information from the company record. How many terms are remaining, when it's due, etc. So this is just automatically creating a bill for that particular amount. That bill is then sent on a regular or monthly basis. Once this is saved and sent as an order, it is going back into the company record, resaving the next term date and the terms remaining. It's deducting those from that company record. So the next month it's sent, it knows a running total to the point when it's either has 0 terms left, so therefore the bill is no longer automatically created. That is an overview of the billboard contract and the ongoing billboard contract items. Please get in touch with your implementer to get into more detail and set these up for your location. Thank you.